Hey everyone, welcome back to another late night dive into Reddit's creepiest corners. Today's lineup is disturbing, shocking, so grab a drink, grab a snack, get comfy, and let's get into these twisted Reddit stories. Oh, and if you enjoy these stories, smash that like button and subscribe. You don't want to miss what's coming next. I found my little sister's diary. I wish I hadn't. My little sister, Emily, always loved keeping a diary. She had stacks of them. Pastel covers with little locks, each one filled with messy handwriting and stickers. She used to guard them fiercely, threatening to tell on me if I so much as looked at them. But Emily passed away 3 months ago. She was only 11. A freak accident at the lake she fell in, hit her head on a rock, and drowned before anyone could get to her. The funeral was unbearable, and afterward, I couldn't bring myself to touch her things. Her room remained untouched, like a shrine to the girl she used to be. But last week, Mom asked me to start sorting through her belongings. I found her latest diary in the bottom drawer of her desk. It was unlocked. I thought reading it might bring me some closure. I thought it would help me feel close to her again. I was wrong. The first few entries were normal. Today we had pizza for dinner. I took 2 slices before Joey could get them all. He got mad, but I don't care. That made me smile. Emily always loved teasing me. The next few pages were full of harmless ramblings, complaints about school, doodles of flowers and stars, lists of her favorite songs. But then, about halfway through, the tone started to change. I saw the man again today. He was standing in the backyard, watching me through the window. I told Mom, but she said I was imagining things. He's always there, though. I can feel him. The man? I paused, flipping back through the earlier entries. No mention of him before. Maybe it was just Emily's overactive imagination. She'd always been a little jumpy, a little too eager to believe in monsters under the bed. I kept reading. The man came closer last night. He tapped on my window. He didn't say anything, just smiled at me. His teeth are so big. I wanted to scream, but I was too scared. I felt a chill run down my spine. Emily's handwriting got messier. With each entry, her words more frantic. He comes inside now. He stands at the foot of my bed while I pretend to sleep. He whispers my name. He says he's waiting. Waiting for what? I flipped to the last few pages, my heart pounding. Joey doesn't see him. No one does. He told me not to tell. He said they wouldn't believe me. He said I belong to him now. I stopped reading. My hands were shaking. This had to be some kind of prank, a made-up story Emily wrote to scare me. But the way she described it, the fear in her words, it felt real. Too real. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about the diary. I couldn't shake the image of Emily, lying in bed, too terrified to scream while some stranger stood over her. I barely slept. When I finally drifted off, I dreamed about her. She was standing at the edge of the lake, staring at me with wide, unblinking eyes. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. When I woke up, I was drenched in sweat, and there was mud on my shoes. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe I'd gone outside to clear my head and didn't remember. But the next day, I found a page from Emily's diary lying on my desk. I hadn't brought the diary upstairs. The page wasn't one I'd read before. He says Joey will come next. He says Joey will join me soon. My blood turned to ice. That night, I locked my bedroom door. I tried to convince myself it was all in my head, that grief was playing tricks on me. But as I lay there, staring at the ceiling, I heard it. A tap, 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 on my window. I didn't want to look. I couldn't. But something made me turn my head. He was there. A man, tall and thin, his face pale and stretched like wax. He smiled at me, baring rows of jagged teeth, and pressed a single finger to his lips. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. When I woke up, it was morning. The window was locked. No sign of anyone outside. I almost convinced myself it was a dream, until I went downstairs and found another page from Emily's diary on the kitchen table. He says it's time. He says Joey belongs to him now. I haven't slept since. I haven't left the house. I keep hearing taps at the windows, whispers in the dark. Last night, I found muddy footprints leading from the lake to my bedroom door. I think I understand now. Emily didn't fall. She didn't hit her head. He took her. And now, he's coming for me. This is your Uber Eats driver. Answer, please. I'm scared. If you're reading this, I need you to find a way to contact my local authorities for me before sunrise. You're probably asking, what the hell? And very much justified. Let me start by saying my name is not important, but for story purposes, I'll go by Richie. And I was supposed to be enjoying some fucking dank birria tacos right now at my girlfriend's, but now here I am, holding a Cutco knife, as I write this from the closet in her parents' bedroom. Laura's parents' mansion sits alone and secluded on the outskirts of the Dallas Metroplex, nestled in one of those rich suburban landscapes where silence is as thick as the evening fog. We were supposed to be enjoying our last few days before heading back to college. Smoking, drinking, hot tub activities that aren't important. If only I had listened. No, like really listened. Richie, are you even hearing me? Laura's voice cut through my distraction. I mumbled something, my attention split between her and the Uber Eats notification on my phone. This is your Uber Eats driver. ETA is 20 minutes. Bet, I replied half-heartedly. Thanks again. It was past 2 a.m., and Laura was drunk, White Claw in hand, mid-sentence about our communication issues from this past semester, how we never truly listened to each other. The irony here would be fucking hilarious in any other situation other than this one tonight. You don't know my rising sign or even my favorite vegetable, and it's not like I'm not telling you these things all the time. I will give her that. Babe is as brash as she is chatty. Then she looked me dead in the eyes and asked, "What's even the code to get into the front door?" I confidently told her I knew it, but here's the truth. I didn't. Was it 00203? Or 00308? I wasn't sure, but I wasn't about to admit that. I'm a great listener, I told her, forcing a smile. My phone buzzed again. A text from the Uber driver. Hello. This is Diego with Uber. Can I call you? I only half saw the message. Laura was still talking, and I was still not listening. We started to argue, the usual dance of a relationship stretched thin by distance and miscommunication. She even tossed out again if I knew her simple code to access her house, and again, I deflected. Babe, you let me in every day since we started dating. Why would I need to know that? Then another text came. This one finally caught my attention. Answer, please. I'm scared. Something felt off. I told her she was right as I stepped into the kitchen to call Diego. His voice was timid, shaking. Hi, this is Diego. I'm your driver. I have your tacos. Oh, thanks, bro. This is all I can try to muster since I hate small talk. You good? I hit a deer, he said. What? But when I got out to check, there was nothing there. He paused, then added something that made my skin crawl. Then I saw her, a woman, standing by the road. She had this long dress facing an open field. Her back was turned to me. I tried to calm him down, chalking it up to the creepy dusk driving in Dallas backwoods. Hey, you know how Dallas County treats their homeless man? Probably just a lady wandering out past the city. I'll give you a good tip, bud, I said. Just get my jack-in-the-box to me. But Diego wasn't letting me go. Sir, I've seen her twice now, he whispered. I'm sorry? She was standing at a stop sign at 10 miles, and then I saw her again just now before calling you, amigo. She was on a billboard railing, just standing there, always with her back turned. I could hear Laura in the background, asking what was taking so long. Diego was praying now, muttering in Spanish. His fear was infectious, crawling through the phone line and into my bones. Look, I'm almost there, he said. Can you meet me outside? Walking over to my book bag, I grabbed my gun just in case. What the hell are you doing? She caught me as I started to tuck my Smith into my back pocket. I put Diego on mute and caught her up to speed, which immediately caused her to laugh. Vagrants are everywhere. He needs to chill out. And you, she added, grabbing for my gun. Give me that now. You know how my parents feel about that. I didn't argue with her and handed it over. It's her house anyway. Yet something didn't feel right. Sir, fuck, I forgot Diego. Diego? I said quickly, unmuting and putting him on speakerphone for us both to hear. Hey, sorry I was grabbing my shoes. Are you here? Silence. Diego? Silence. Still. With him still on, I checked his GPS. He was here, right outside. Then he finally said something. Something you never want to hear at 2 a.m. The woman, Diego forced out in almost a whisper. She's here, my friend. My heart was in my ass now. Diego, where is she? She's on the roof. Back turned. Amigo, how? Laura rolled her eyes, cocking my gun. She grabbed her jacket and headed out, telling me to stay inside and be ready to call 911, just in case. I'll get the food and check on the driver, she said. If someone's on the roof, Call the cops. Babe, I'll just go grab it. No, I got it. She stopped in a drunk stare. Besides, at least I know my code. And with a smirk that said checkmate, my girlfriend headed outside. Through the door camera, I watched her approach the car. Back on with Diego, I thanked and told him Laura was on her way. Her nonchalance made me realize how silly this seemed. A woman on the roof, and did he really hit a deer? Or just trying to get a fat tip with a bizarre story? That's when I got more silence from Diego. Hey, Diego? You there? My girlfriend is walking up. Hello? I could hear Laura approaching on his phone. Is anyone? Her voice cut off. What the fuck? Did he attack my girlfriend? Was there really a woman outside? I ran for the door. When I heard a laugh. Not Laura's laugh. Someone else's laughing. Or trying to laugh. And sound human? I stopped in my tracks. Something in me told me to not open the door. Diego? Silence on the other end. Diego? More laughter. It sounded like neither male or female. Laura? My phone lost signal. The Wi-Fi flickered. Then, the lights went out. Fuck. The only light left in Laura's mansion was the camera security panel at the front door. I ran to it, assuming it must have its own connection separate from the house. I tried the panic button in big red digital letters, but the panel was unresponsive. Yet the camera was just fine. What was happening? And there she was. On the camera, Laura, back turned to me. In the driveway, Diego's car sat with hazards blinking. I could barely see, but his car doors were all swung open, completely empty. Laura? I called through the door mic. Stop playing around. She didn't respond. Babe? Silence. She didn't move a muscle. Babe? Communication? Remember that? Not a word as the bright hazard lights flashed on and off, on and off. Laura didn't move for what felt like an hour, and then, like a puppet on a strange marionette, she lifted her hand out. The way she twisted her arm made me force myself to assume it was just a camera glitch. I heard a weird crackle as she then stuck out one crooked finger and started pressing door codes. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, buzz. Rejected. 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, buzz. Rejected. Babe. 0, 0, 0, 0, 3, buzz. Rejected. Babe. Do you need me to let you in? 0, 0, 0, 0, 4, buzz. Rejected. She continued one code after the other. So here I am, in her parents' closet with her mom's steak knives. My gun was last with her. My phone will suddenly not connect. The security system is inoperational to send help, and yet the only thing keeping her from getting in, and I still hear her downstairs, pressing buttons, buzz, reject. You don't listen to me, rings through my ears. From every time she ever told me that since we started dating, and now I'm sitting here, accepting she was right. I could have just admitted I don't listen and how I could do better, and hell, even asked her what the house code was. But now, look at me. 00203, 00308? I'm reeling as I try to remember. Laura knows the code to her own home. Whatever that is outside does not. And it's only a matter of time before it gets it right. I didn't want to be one of those idiots who can't follow rules. I'm a no-sleep addict. Especially these days, with nothing else to fill my time, I spend endless hours scouring new and then the archives for stories that I haven't yet read. My favorite are rule stories. You probably know the kind. I'm a night shift guard at an abandoned mall, and someone left me a strange list of rules. The OP never takes the rules seriously at first. Inevitably, something creepy happens, and they panic and break one. I always thought that it would be so simple for me to follow the rules by just keeping a clear head. My chance to prove myself came unexpectedly. Hey, you still looking for a job? Tony, my roommate, asked me over for dinner one night. Uncle Mike is looking for an overnight warehouse manager. I hurried to chew and swallow a huge mouthful of spaghetti. I don't have any management experience, I said. Tony waved his fork dismissively. The title's just for show. All you'd be doing is keeping an eye on the warehouse, making sure no one breaks in and stuff. What's the pay? $25 an hour. I choked on a piece of onion. As I took a gulp of water, massaging my throat, it occurred to me that Tony was doing me a favor. We'd gotten close over 2 years of living together, and he knew that I needed money in a bad way. Where do I sign up? I joked. The next day, an Uber dropped me off at 9 p.m. sharp at the warehouse address. The warehouse was an ugly concrete building nestled between a junkyard and a shuttered dentist's office. I knew it was a dentist's office because of the rotted wood sign over the door, which read, happy teeth, next to a chipped picture of a cartoon emoji grinning widely with a full set of realistic human teeth. I pulled open the warehouse's thick metal door and stepped inside. I found myself in a huge, mostly empty room, illuminated by strips of flickering fluorescent lights. A few wooden crates were stacked haphazardly against the far wall, next to another metal door. To my left was a small closet whose door was slightly ajar. To my right, a wooden desk with a chair behind it. On the desk lay a silvery key and a sheet of printer paper. My heart began to beat faster as I picked up the paper and read the following in large black print. Rules. Lock the door behind you when you enter the building, and again when you leave. Do not open the door for anyone. If they are meant to be here, they will have a key. Do not go into the back room, especially if you hear voices coming from it. Ignore any unusual smells. Never open the crates. If they leak, there is a mop in the janitor's closet. If you see a man in a blue and white striped suit, be polite to him, but do not look at his face. Do not call the police. They are not on your side. Do not talk to anyone who looks like a police officer. They are not on your side. Was this a prank? I tried to recall if I'd mentioned my obsession with rules stories to Tony before. After a moment, I decided that, prank or not, I'd do what I'd wished so many times the OPs of those stories would do. Keep a clear head, follow the rules. I took the key and locked the heavy metal door behind me. Then I peeked into the closet, discovering that the cramped space doubled as both a janitor's closet and a restroom containing a urinal, sink, mop, and bucket. Finally, I sat down at the desk, pulled out my phone, and started scrolling Reddit. I was proud of myself for having avoided the obvious trap. If I had gone to scope out the back room, no doubt something would have enticed me to open the door. No, better to stay right here. Several hours of doom scrolling later, I was sitting in my chair, half dozing, when a rattling sound startled me awake. I checked my phone, 1 a.m. I heard the rattling again, coming from the front door. Someone was trying the door handle. I held my breath, staring at the jiggling handle. It occurred to me that there were no windows in the entire warehouse. No one could see in, and I couldn't see out. After a few seconds, the door handle stilled. Boom! The entire door shook, as if someone, or something, had struck it with tremendous force. My heart jackhammering in my throat, I stood up and slowly backed away. Boom! 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 My back hit something cold. I was pressed against the back wall. As if a switch had flipped, everything fell still and quiet again. Under my hand, I felt the rugged metal of the door to the back room. Had the sole purpose of the assault by the entity outside been to drive me toward this room? In the sudden silence, I heard something through the wall. It was faint, but high-pitched, nibbling just at the edges of my hearing, swelling in volume before dying away again, over and over, in an irregular pattern. It sounded like a crying baby. I fled back to my desk, my mind whirring. Could there really be a child trapped back there? Should I call the cops? At that last thought, I snapped back to my senses. My eyes went to the printout on my desk. Do not call the police. I shook my head, smiling at the implausibility of the scenario. A baby in the back room of an industrial warehouse? I needed to keep my wits about me. Nothing else strange happened for the rest of the night. I used part of my first paycheck to buy a pair of noise-canceling headphones and showed up for my second shift with them already over my ears, the noise cancellation on max. I froze as I stepped through the warehouse door. The air smelled wrong. It was coppery, like an old penny, with an unpleasant undertone that reminded me of a sewer leak, a mix of filth and decay. Coughing, I turned and locked the door. As I turned back around, something caught my eye. The crates at the back of the warehouse were sitting in what looked like a pool of tar. Swallowing down a vague feeling of unease, I went to fetch the mop. The tar-colored substance, when I mopped it up, was gloopy like day-old gravy. The coppery smell floated around me, so strong that it almost felt like a physical thing, a mist that saturated my nostrils, my clothes, my lungs with every shallow breath I drew. Something touched the back of my head, and my headphones slid off. I spun around, sloshing dirty water everywhere. A man stood a few feet away with my headphones in his hand. He wore a gaudy suit with cream white and baby blue stripes. A gold bow tie sat crooked against the stiff white collar, and his face, 9. I dropped my gaze to the floor, trying to forget my brief impression of his glittering eyes and pale lips. His voice was soft and thin. "Are you the new overnight manager?" he asked. Yes, sir," I forced out. "No headphones," he said. Stay alert. I bobbed my head like a fool while staring intently at his shiny brown shoes. Keep up the good work, he said. The shoes shifted, and his clicking footsteps crossed the room, followed by the sound of the front door unlocking. Once I heard the door lock slide back into place, I dared to look up. The warehouse was empty. I quickly finished mopping up the mess by the crates. My headphones were sitting on my desk. I sank into my chair, staring at the round black pads that soaked up the dim light. Had the man come in from outside? Or had he been in the back room? My imagination, running wild, conjured a vision of him standing unnaturally still in the dark, on the other side of the wall. Why had he been there? How long had he been waiting? What if he wasn't the only one? I couldn't calm down. I played on my phone, paced the floor, tried to nap, but no matter what I did, it felt like 1,000 glittering eyes were boring into my back. I needed to see what was in the back room. I read and reread the rules. Do not go into the back room, especially if you hear voices coming from it. I wouldn't go in, I reasoned. I'd listen for voices, then open the door and take a peek. Just a peek, to make sure I was alone. I apprehensively approached the back door, noting how solid it looked, how thick the hinges were. I pressed my ear to the cool metal and closed my eyes. I was greeted by silence, broken only by my shaky breathing. Before I could lose my nerve, I yanked the door open. On the other side was a completely bare concrete room, lit by a naked light bulb dangling from the ceiling. I stared and stared, embarrassment and relief alternately washing over me in waves. Boom. I whipped around. Boom. The front door shook with the force of an unseen impact. Police! A voice shouted from outside. Boom. My eyes dipped to the sheet of rules. They are not on your side. Police! Open up! Boom. The inked words swam in my vision. Do not talk to anyone who looks like a police officer. They are not on your side. My vision exploded with golden stars. The next thing I remember is waking up in a hospital bed and being informed by a stern-faced policewoman that I was under arrest. I was too out of it at the time to follow much of what she said, but I pieced the facts together over the course of my ensuing trial. I had been unwittingly recruited by a criminal organization. The police had been after the big boss, the man in the blue and white suit, when they blew the door to the warehouse with me inside. One of the jury members threw up at the photos of what was found in those crates. No one believed my protestations of innocence. I couldn't explain why I had ignored the crying, mopped up the blood, why I couldn't describe the appearance of the man in the suit despite having been close enough to touch him. I got 40 years without parole. My life is over, but let me leave you with this warning, in case I might save yours. If you find a strange set of rules, don't follow them. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already, please give the video a like and hit that subscribe button. We're aiming for 1,000 subscribers, and I know we can get there soon with your support.